also known as 3MT. My name is Nancy Swanner. I'm the founding director of the Granger Cobb Institute for the. You know that I'm not a script person, and this is the one occasion probably that I always use a script. Why? Because it is important to me that you all have the best experience possible here today, and I don't want to be the one to screw it up. So I follow the script pretty closely, and I will also throw out the disclaimer. I've been practicing some of your names since 5 this morning, and I will do my very best to make them right. The 3-minute thesis competition was developed by the University of Queensland and is now held at universities around the world. The challenge is simple, but not easy. Competitors have just 3 minutes to present their research using only one static slide to a non-specialist audience. Today's presentations highlight not only the depth of our students' scholarship, but also their ability to communicate why their research matters. Each competitor has 3 minutes to present with only one slide of support. Presentations are spoken word only, no animations, videos, or props. Time begins when the presenter starts speaking or moving, and presentations exceeding 3 minutes are disqualified. Our judges will evaluate each presentation based on comprehension, engagement, and communication for a non-specialist audience following official 3MT judging criteria. At this time, I'd like to thank our judges for lending their time and expertise today. We appreciate your thoughtful evaluation and participation in supporting our graduate students. Our judging panel is composed of faculty, staff, and community leaders. Our judges are up in the back row, and as I introduce them, I'd like them to stand, but if you're wondering where they are, they're way in the back. First, Chris Riley-Tillman, Provost and Executive Vice President. Pete Chittenden, Executive Director for the Pullman Chamber of Commerce. Kim Kristen, Vice President for Research. Lisa Guerrero, Vice Provost for Access and Opportunity. My friend from a previous life, John Harlow, Interim Athletic Director. Ramondo Nash, Vice President for Student Affairs. Ken Roberts, Faculty Senate Chair. And Betsy Cantwell, Washington State University President. Thank you to our incredible set of judges today. It is now an honor to introduce our competitors. Presenters will compete in the following order. Hao Shu, Carson College of Business. Connor Tulu, Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture. Ryan Wagner, WSU Vancouver. Blessing Akinrotimi, College of Gallardo Ate Ortua, WSU Tri-Cities. Was I close? Oh, yes. I needed the president. She pronounced it beautifully. Ishe Dada, College of Agriculture, Human and Natural Resource Sciences. And Jaiwe Leo, College of Farm. Give a big round of applause to welcome all of our competitors. Take a breath. Y'all take a breath. Take a breath. You're great. You know this stuff better than anybody in this room. You got this, okay? All right, here we go. Our first presenter is Hao Shu, representing the Carson College of Business. Whenever you're ready, Hao.
Good afternoon, everyone. How much do you think how much matter reported had to offer before Matt Decky, the 23-year-old top AI researcher in this picture, said yes? Only at $250 million did he say yes. Why would any firm pay that much for one person? That is because in AI industry, firms are acting as if a small number of individuals can determine the future. And this is not necessarily the case. Across leading AI companies, we see an aggressive race for AI talent. Compensation packages resemble those of super athletes or CEOs. And the implicit belief behind this is super simple. A small number of exceptional inventors can make or even break the firm's competitive position. But is that true? That is my research. In my research, I ask this fundamental question. What matters more in AI innovation? The inventors or the firms that provide data, capital, and other infrastructure? To answer this, I decompose the contribution of inventors and firms to AI innovation outcomes. I separate the inventor effect from firm effect and measure their impact on AI innovation quality and firm financial performance. The results are striking. Inventors explain more of the variation to AI innovation outcomes than firms do. And star inventors contribute disproportionately more, not only to patents, but also to firm financial performance, valuation, growth, and profitability. At a time when AI is replacing tasks and automating decision-making, the frontier of innovation still depends on human intelligence. In short, data matters. Capital, of course, matters. But human capital matters more. And Zuckerberg may not be irrational, and of course we know he's not irrational. In the race for artificial intelligence, the true bottleneck may not be machines, but our minds. And if that is true in AI innovation, here's a question closer to home. Are great papers produced by great departments or by great researchers? Thank you.
Our next presenter is Connor Tulu, representing the Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture.
So each year, children are diagnosed with osteosarcoma. Now, this is an aggressive bone cancer that often strikes during periods of rapid growth. To save their lives, surgeons frequently must remove entire sections of their bone. Today, about 80% of patients can keep their limbs, which is an incredible medical achievement, but it creates a new challenge. How do you rebuild a skeleton that is still growing? Current solutions exist, of course, but they're not designed for this. Metal implants like titanium are permanent, requiring revision surgeries as children grow. They also don't prevent infection, and they can't do anything to stop residual cancer cells from returning. So while we become very skilled at helping children survive bone cancer, we're still quite limited in how well we can help them heal. My research is focused on changing what implants can do. I use 3D printing to create patient-specific biodegradable bone scaffolds, which is important because, well, no two bones are the same. Instead of a passive structure, we turn these scaffolds into active therapeutic systems by loading them with plant-derived therapeutics released directly where the tumor would be removed. These natural molecules like aloe vera extract or quercetin from onions and apples have been studied for their ability to support bone-forming cells while also showing anti-cancer and antibacterial behavior. In other words, these implants, they're no longer just filling space, but creating a local environment that encourages regeneration while also suppressing disease. Man, the exciting part is that we're already seeing it happen. In our studies, these 3D printed implants have shown as much as a 7-fold reduction in osteosarcoma cell growth in vitro, while still supporting the survival and activity of bone-forming cells. They also showed reduced bacterial activity, which is one of the primary concerns of, well, any surgeon. But before any technology can reach a child, it must first be tested in conditions that truly represent the human body. To do that, we developed something called a bioreactor. Now, this is a system that combines fluid dynamics with mechanical loading to simulate the forces that our bones experience when we walk or run or play. This has given us a much more realistic understanding of how these scaffolds perform, while also answering critical questions earlier, reducing the number of animals needed for testing. We've already begun partnering with the WSU Veterinarian College, taking the first steps towards translating this research beyond the lab by doing early surgical studies. For children diagnosed with osteosarcoma, survival is only the beginning of their journey. They face multiple years of additional surgeries, limited mobility, and implants that were just never designed for them. By combining 3D printing with plant-derived therapeutics and advanced testing systems, we're moving towards implants that don't just repair damage, but help children truly recover and return to their lives. Thank you.
Up next, Ryan Wagner, representing WSU Vancouver.
In 2007, biologists watched as a lone female Cascades frog emerged from hibernation and ventured to the breeding pools in Lassen Volcanic National Park. She listened for the call of a male, but none ever came because she was the last frog. A year later, she too was gone, and biologists haven't seen another Cascades frog in Lassen Volcanic in almost 20 years. My PhD dissertation is the story of how the Cascades frog returned to Lassen Volcanic National Park and what we can do to rebuild the Jenga tower that is our natural world. Lassen isn't the only place that has lost its frogs. In recent decades, hundreds of amphibian species have become extinct, and thousands more are at risk of extinction. One of the leading threats to frogs is a human-spread disease. For my PhD, I'm studying how we can fight this disease and put the frogs back where they belong. I'm exploring the use of highly dilute antifungal solutions designed to kill the fungus that causes this deadly disease, essentially frog baths. I compared these treatments between separate populations and in multiple treatment years and found that some populations of frogs greatly benefit from treatment, while others do not. Effective treatments reduce infection and improve frog survival, allowing populations to persist with disease. Ineffective treatments, however, weren't always a bad sign, as they could signal populations are evolving resistance to persist with disease. One of those persisting populations served as the donor population for reintroductions back into Lassen Volcanic National Park. In 2025, I led a team to translocate over 100 individuals back to the park, the first Cascades frog reintroduction program ever attempted. Despite the ongoing threat of disease, we're exploring how these antifungal treatments and habitat type can influence translocation success. If we can identify what habitats promote persistence with disease, then we can target those habitats for future reintroductions. If we can successfully reestablish Cascades frogs in Lassen Volcanic, despite these ongoing threats, then my research can serve as a template for the translocation and conservation of many more species. Imagine the natural world, the interconnected species and ecosystems, as a Jenga tower. Perched atop and relying on everything below is us. As we remove blocks, a species here, an ecosystem there, we make our position atop the tower more precarious. A block on its own may seem insignificant, like a frog, but you never know which block could cause the tower to topple. If we can begin to put those blocks back, then we can reverse the damage we've done and protect not only the species we share the planet with, but also ourselves.
Next is Blessing Akinrotimi, representing the College of Education, Sport, and Human Sciences.
Hi, everyone. Let's take a look at the screen before us. It says, action required now. Would you click it? Most of us, if not everyone in this room, have received this kind of messages that says, action required now, this is urgent. Click this or you're gonna lose your information. Or click this for an opportunity to make money. We all like to make money, right? Good. About 25% of you as adults receive this kind of messages on a daily basis. That is a lot of number. And this happens because individuals fall for scams because they have misconceptions about security practices. Example, my test is encrypted, my email is encrypted, so I can fall victims for cyber threats. So how do we, as instructors and educators, how do we help students prevent and learn how to stay and practice secure online behaviors? So my research is focused on using an instructional approach called reputational text. And with reputational text, we present the misconception. For example, my test is encrypted. I can't fall victim for cyber threats. And then we directly refute it and let the students know that this is an incorrect information. And then we present the accurate information to the students. That even though encryption is a part of security practices to know, there are other measures that we have to know to keep safe online. And this particular approach has been used in other domains, like science, to prevent misconception about vaccination, about climate change. Can we do the same for cybersecurity misconceptions like encryption? Another interesting part of my research is emotion. When students are told that they're incorrect, are they surprised by the information? Are they curious? Do they want to know more? Or are they bored? I know all this information already. Or do they resist such information? And they're like, after all, my tests are encrypted and I've never fallen victim for cyber threats. So by examining how reputational text and emotion influence learning, my research aims to help instructors and teachers alike to teach cybersecurity concepts like encryptions in a way that are cognitively and emotionally relevant and effective for the students. Thank you.
Now presenting Scott Stevenson, representing the College of Veterinary Medicine.
For just a moment, let us imagine that we are detectives, and in front of us is our crime scene. As detectives, our job is to look for clues in order to solve the mystery. As we enter the crime scene, the first thing we notice is that the door has been burst ajar, the frame on the wall is crooked, and there's a broken vase on the ground. Now this scene tells us that some event must have occurred here, but doesn't tell us much about the nature of the crime, and certainly not who committed the crime. So we explore a bit further and we find a red stain on the carpet. Now this tells us about the nature of the crime as well as the general vicinity in which the crime was committed. However, we still don't know who or even what committed the crime. So we explore just a bit more and we find a dirty footprint on the ground as well. Now this tells us that a human must have committed the crime rather than an animal or some other creature, yet we still don't know who exactly committed the crime. So just like any good mystery, the final piece of the puzzle is the fingerprint. The fingerprint tells us exactly who committed the crime so that when combined with the other clues, we can solve the mystery. As a scientist, my job is not too far removed from the work of a detective. You see, I don't study crime scenes, but I do study transcription factors, which are tiny proteins that bind to DNA and help transcribe DNA, or allow the body to make sense of the DNA. As a member of the WIRIC lab, we in general study DNA damage, particularly caused by UV light. Tying these topics together, my project uses unique DNA damage patterns caused by UV light to identify new transcription factor binding sites. Now, I'm by no means the first person to map transcription factor binding, but just like the clues in our crime scene, current mapping methods may tell us the general area where proteins bind to the DNA, but they don't tell us the whole story when it comes to gene regulation, which is why we've coined the term UV fingerprint to describe the unique damage patterns attributed to transcription factor binding. Evidence so far suggests that some transcription factors increase damage at their binding sites, while others seem to protect the DNA helix in such a way that damage is suppressed at their binding sites, which can sometimes make it difficult to discern clear recurring damage patterns. However, if you were to enter a crime scene, a fingerprint on the wall would not be apparent to the naked eye either. Yet with the help of a light, or in this case, a UV light, our UV fingerprints tend to reveal themselves at transcription factor binding sites across the genome. By combining traditional benchwork experiments and machine learning approaches, my research aims to crack the case on transcription and gene regulation. Thank you.
Our next presenter, Mateo Gallardo Atehortua, representing WSU Tri-Cities.
For a moment, I would like you to imagine being back at your parents' house. Your mom has made your favorite dish. The smell fills the room. You sit on the table, take the first bite, and all the flavors come together perfectly. Now, imagine that every time you enjoy that food, you're also damaging the house around you. The air gets worse, the walls weaken, and suddenly, all your family start wondering for how long this house can hold. Would you still enjoy that dish in the same way? Well, that is the same problem we are facing today in our shared home, Earth. For more than a century, fossil fuels have powered our lives. They keep us warm in winter, move our cars, and support the systems that produce our food. But they also release carbon dioxide, one of the main gases driving climate change. So the challenge is not producing energy itself, it's doing so without damaging our shared home. My research focuses on a possible way to mitigate this issue. I work with microbes called methanogens. You can think of them as tiny factory workers. Their job is remarkable. They take carbon dioxide and hydrogen and turn them into water and methane. This last one is the main component of natural gas, the same fuel we use to produce electricity at some industries or create the flame some houses use for cooking. However, this time we are not taking fossil natural gas from the ground and releasing carbon dioxide when we use it. We are recycling carbon dioxide and producing renewable natural gas, RNG. Sounds really good, but there is still an issue. And it's that these microbes, even if they are very skilled, they can also be fragile. And small amounts of the same gas we need for breathing, oxygen, can be harmful for them and decrease their methane production. And that makes the process more difficult and expensive. My goal aims to make this tiny factory stronger. First, I train these microbes under stressful conditions like oxygen, and that allows them to evolve and get stronger, like our muscle microbe up in the slide. Later, I grow them in a reactor that was designed to increase the methane production. So far, my results show that the trained methanogens can keep producing methane under oxygen levels that would have completely interrupted the process. And that brings us to a more robust and realistic system for RNG production. Through my research, I'm trying to do my part and hopefully motivate others to do theirs, so we can all keep enjoying the food and the good things that come from our shared home while keeping that home healthy for ourselves, our children, and beyond. Thank you.
Up now is Uluwantumishe Dada, representing the College of Agriculture, Human and Natural Resource Sciences.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Uluwatumishe Dada, and I will be presenting the topic, turning rotten egg gas into sustainable fertilizer. You know that rotten egg smell? That smell comes from a gas called hydrogen sulfide, or simply called H2S. H2S is toxic and it's corrosive. When found in the atmosphere, it causes acid rain formation. And when humans are exposed to it, it causes olfactory damage, high irritation, loss of consciousness, and in some cases, eventual death. Coming to energy production, H2S can be found in landfill gas, anaerobic digestion biogas, oil refinery gases, and across global energy system, billions of cubic meters of these energy gases are produced daily, and H2S must be removed before they can be used. This is because it corrodes engines and damages equipment. But I ask a question. What if on one hand we could capture this toxic H2S gas, on the other hand we could produce something valuable from it? This brings me to my research. My research uses a biological system called a bioscrubber to capture this toxic gas and produce a valuable elemental sulfur. Inside these bioscrubber systems are specialized bacteria called sulfur oxidizing bacteria. These bacteria consume this toxic H2S as food and produce elemental sulfur. In our system, results show that over 95% of this toxic H2S gas could be captured, and we are able to produce elemental sulfur with 97 to 100% purity. Now you may be wondering, what does this all mean? It means every percent of H2S we capture protects you from gas poisoning. It protects your vehicle engine from corrosion and damage. And it also protects all of us from having occurrence of acid rain. And this really is very significant because sulfur is not waste. It's an essential nutrient for plant. It's the fourth after nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Modern agriculture is increasingly being faced by sulfur deficiency, and when this H2S converted into elemental sulfur is applied into the soil as fertilizer, it is naturally converted into sulfate, which is the form that the crop absorbs. This is more than just gas treatment. It's about rethinking waste, because sustainability isn't just about removing pollution. It's about redesigning systems such that waste becomes value. Today, we capture toxic gas. Tomorrow, we grow food with it. This is the power of turning waste to value. Thank you for listening.
Our next presenter is Jaiwe Leo, representing the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences.
Mouse is very similar to humans. They have hands, we have hands. They have ears, we have ears. But there's one big difference between mouse and human, which is we don't have tails. Or I shouldn't say that, I should say, I don't have a tail because no investigation, no conclusion. So you'd better check yourself to make sure you won't become a mouse man one day. But if you do, my suggestion is either join the Avenger or join my lab. Besides that, mouse also shares more than 85% gene similarity with human. So that's why they're widely used for human biological research. But they're not good model for human aging research. Apparently not because of the tail thing, that's ridiculous, but because of the telomere. Telomere is the repetitive DNA, which is the human aging marker. It means the older you are, the shorter telomere length it will have. But for mouse, they have 5 times longer telomere, but their lifespan is only 2 years, which means the telomere is not a limitation for their lifespan. So I'll use one example to show why it is problematic using the normal laboratory mouse for human aging research. Think about this. You are trying a product for improving the car performance, and you have two car models. Car A, it has the engine issue. Car B, it has the brake issue. You don't know the difference. In order to save the cost, you decide to try it on car B, and if that works, directly transfer into the car A, which makes sense, but you failed. Why? Because you're fixing the wrong issues, just like using the normal laboratory mouse for human aging research. So in order to solve this, we replace the car B's engine with car A's to generate a new car model for this purpose. So in terms of biology, we generate a mouse with short human telomere. My research is to tracking the disease progression during aging. And yes, we do find human-like diseases happened in our mouse model, but not in the normal laboratory mouse. And my research goal is also trying to identify telomere as a good biomarker for this mouse aging and to accelerate drug development. So we hope to see this. One day when a doctor trying to convert the patients and they will say, no worry, this drug will definitely work for you because it passed all the trials in Julap's mouse model. And this mouse is 99% similar to humans. And of course, the patients will hesitate to ask, so what is the 1% left? And the doctor will laugh and say, you know, they're mice, they still have tails, but no worry, Julap is working really hard to get rid of it. Thank you.
Our final presenter, Safia Hafiz, representing the College of Arts and Sciences.
Hello, my name is Safia Hafiz, and I'm a PhD candidate in the Department of Sociology. Now, the field of sociology is really interested in the study of inequality, and today I'm here to introduce to you a type of inequality known as justice by geography. This is the idea that youth with really similar characteristics are sentenced differently by the justice system depending on where they're sentenced. This means that if I take the same case and I just put it in a different county, I might see a different outcome. It's kind of like how I say, go Cougs in Pullman and Seattle and Bellingham, and I'm gonna get a different reaction because the context is different. And as you can see from this chart here, the darker red colors represent counties that divert more youth away from the justice system. So you can see that somewhere like King County diverts a lot of youth, whereas somewhere like Whatcom County diverts a smaller percentage of youth. Now, the problem really is when kids are treated unnecessarily harshly by the justice system, we start to see negative outcomes like kids continuing to engage in criminal behavior and the growth of mass incarceration. That's why it's important to understand what explains why kids receive different outcomes across place, and I want to see if politics is that explanation, given that politics are really about allocating resources, right? Like who gets what? I hypothesize that politics determines whether the resources for treating youth leniently are made available. Now, past research on political context really focuses on the role of the Conservative Party in increasing the use of jail or prison. But historically, both parties have had major tough on crime initiatives. From George H.W. Bush's Law and Order presidency, to Bill Clinton's passing of the 1994 crime bill sponsored by Joe Biden, both which increased punishment for offenders. So I want to look beyond party politics to see if other factors like spending for social services, civic engagement, or political competition can explain why kids receive different outcomes across place. Now, to conduct this analysis, I really need to look at two layers of data. First, factors about the individual case itself affect the outcome, like how serious the offense was, but also the politics of the county affect how youth are sentenced. So I need to use a statistical technique known as multi-level modeling, which accounts for the individual context and the county context at the same time. In other words, if my dissertation was a piece of cake, which it's totally not, it would be like a two-layer cake. Now, the project is also multi-method because if that top layer of the cake is about county context and the bottom is about individuals, the frosting connecting the two are people who work in the justice system who make decisions about youth cases while being influenced by their county culture. So I conduct open interviews with people who work in courtrooms about their decision-making to make this dissertation a well-rounded approach to understanding how politics creates inequality for youth across place and contributes to mass incarceration. Thank you.
Wow, just Wow, you guys did a phenomenal job. How about a round of applause for these? This was incredible. You can all take a big, deep breath and sigh of relief. You were incredible. Our judges are now going to take a few minutes to compile their scores, and so we'll have a brief intermission here. Please help yourself to some refreshments out in the lobby, and then we'll gather back in here in a few minutes to announce our winners. Thank you. Okay, we're back. I'd like to extend a sincere thanks to everyone who helped orchestrate today's event, the Office of the Provost, our faculty and staff who organized the college and campus events, and all the individuals behind the scenes. And that includes the Haleys, Daniel, Rob, Andrew, and KP, who's not here today, but we know she was intimately involved with all of this. Immediately following this event today, you're welcome to congratulate the competitors, but we'd like you to hold off just for a second so that all the photos can be taken that we need to. And after we work with them, if there are any advisors here with their student during that photo session, if you'd like to come down and have a photo with your student, we would welcome you to do that as well. So we'll do that. President Cantwell and Provost Riley Tillman, please join me down here for the presentation. I invite each of you, as I call your name, to come and join me here to my left. Mateo Gallardo Atehortua. Jayaway Leo. After I finish announcing all of the winners, the program will be officially over. However, feel free, congratulations to all of you. You killed it today. You just killed it today. You know, in all the darkness and uncertainty in our world, how can we not be hopeful and energized by what we just saw today? Holy cow. Talk about hopeful, brilliant, young people to take us forward. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, have I stalled long enough? Are you just driving you crazy? That's kind of on purpose, you know. No, it's not. Okay, let me find my bright sheet again. That's why I don't like a script, especially when I have a mic in my hand. Third place will receive $500 in research conference travel support. The third place winner, Mateo Gallardo Atahutora. Our second place winner will receive $1,500 in research, conference, and travel support. Our second place winner, Connor Tulu. Jaiwei, guess what? You're it. Our first place winner, Jaiwei Leo, will receive $3,000 in research conference travel support and will be named the champion of Washington State University's 12th 3-minute thesis competition. Again, how about a round of applause for all our participants today? This concludes our program. Thanks for coming, and as always, go Cougs.